All right. So, what is the difference between domain and range? Well, we remember the domain is obviously the x values, the values on our graph where x is occurring, and the range are the y values. So, let's say that we're taking a look at a picture. What would be the domain and range in this picture? Well, the domain are the ones that have x values. Well, who has an x value? Well, there's one here at -4. At 0, and when x is 2, it has a value. So we'd say, oh, -4, and at 0, and at 2. The range, which wise? Well, height-wise, they have one at 1 and at a height of 3, and that's it. All right, I'm never going to really ask that. I'm going to ask more things like this, okay? But it gets your mind thinking. What would be the domain and range in this picture? So here's the way we approach this. The domain says which x's have values. Well, we can see what I say to always do is start from the far left like you read a book and imagine you're coming this way. You haven't hit a point yet, Boom, right here at -4, we've hit a point. And we have points from -4 all the way. There's continuing a point, isn't there? All the way until you get to 2. And then it ends. So from -4 to 2, we have x values. The x has a value somewhere with the y. So what we say is, do we do it like this? No. Here's how we're going to do it. We're simply going to make it -4 to 2, x is between them. -4 to 2, and x is in between them. Now we do need to put inequality symbols in. The alligator will always eat to the bigger number, which in this case, if we go left to right, is always going to be to the right-hand side because we'll be using the number line. -4, 2 will be to the right. Alligators will be eating towards the 2. Now, we do need to go back and say, hey, does it equal anywhere? Well, here at -4, notice it was darkened. That means it included it. So -4 was included. When we got to 2, it was open. So no, it did not include it. So we don't put anything. So there is our solution. There's how we write the solution for that one. Okay, let's go to range. The range, the y's that have values. I always start just like for domain, I start left to right. I start from bottom to top. So I start here at the bottom. I'm moving up, nothing. Coach, boom, -1. We have a value. It seems to go from a height of -1, and then it continues up to 3. So I'll go -1, 3, y is between them. Make sure you put a y, not an x there, because we're talking the y values. Alligators will eat towards the bigger number. Now, I come back and I look here at -1, it was an open circle, means it did not include -1 as a solution. But up here at 3, it was darkened. So I need to put an or equal to. This is how, whenever you have between 2 points, where on the graph I can see it has a distinct starting and stopping point, the answers will always be written like that. Sorry, I had it on eraser. Always be written like this or this when we're between 2 points. That's the way we're going to write them. All right, what about this guy? Now, this isn't between 2 points. This does continue forever. Okay, the graphing program won't let me put a little arrow there. That continues forever. So let's think. Domain. Coming from left, there's a value up here somewhere, isn't there? So pretty much this goes all the way to -infinity up to 2. Now, we are not going to go -infinity. We're not going to do that. Okay, that's a little different notation that we'll talk about later in the week. The domain, we're like, hey, it's pretty much from -infinity up to 2. So basically, it's every x that is under less than 2. Think about that. It's every x that's less than 2. 1, 0, -1, -2, -3. All those have values. So that's the x values. Now we need to do the range. The range, well, coming from the bottom, nothing. Boom, -1, 0, 1, 2, and it continues up forever. So there it's every y that is what? In this case, it's every y that is bigger than -1. Every y that is greater than -1, every y value, every height above -1 has some value, some height that goes with it. That's how that goes when it has a distinct starting point and then continues forever. That means the domain arranging will be written usually in this way. And finally, what about this guy, Mr. Parabola? Well, domain, which x's have values. Well, if we start here far left coming in, notice that is going to be have a value up there. And as it continues, it's going to have a value everywhere. Every x is going to have a value. So in this case, the domain is all real numbers. Every x has a value. When we plug x's in, every one of them is going to have a value. Over here at let's say 10, there's a point, boom, that matches it. What about the range? The range, well, starting at the bottom, there's nobody here, nobody here, nobody here. Boom, not until we get to -3. And then everybody greater than -3 does. So the range are all y's greater than or equal to -3. Now, I did put a point right here for you. Usually you don't need that. I just put it to make it show you, hey, it does touch right at -3. Also put this in blue to sort of finish us out in a pretty color. So there you have what you need for 3-4.